So let's talk about Less Manly Search for the King. Yes, this is not a Sierra game, but I do like to play games that are similar to Sierra every once in a while so that I can stretch out and have extra content. To me, this opening for Less Manly bears a striking resemblance and predates Lead Shoot Larry 5. It has very similar feel, where you've got the big boss sitting at the end of the table. He's got a bunch of yes men surrounded by him, and there's a deal to make money through a TV show. So Less Manly actually predates Lead Shoot Larry 5. What's interesting is in the game, the folks of Accolade take a really quick, brief stab at Lead Shoot Larry pretty early on in the game. So I kind of wonder if Allo took a stab at them by basically taking their intro and put it to Lead Shoot Larry 5, which he knew would probably clearly outsell Less Manly, coming from the fact that it was Sierra. So Less Manly, the story is that they want to basically find the king who, Elvis, and make money off of that. And so Less Manly, who is the young man who plugged in the TV when they couldn't figure out why the tape wasn't working, decides, I'm going to go out and do it, and I am going to collect that money. When I first got Less Manly, when it first came out, I purchased it because it was called Less Manly and Search for the King. Kind of, the cover had a very, very similar vibe to Lead Shoot Larry, so I thought that's what I was going to be getting. A game that was pretty much a knockoff of Lead Shoot Larry. But as it turns out, it is an adventure game, as you can clearly see. It's definitely got the things where you have to figure stuff out, what to do, but it is not at all like Lead Shoot Larry. In the fact that Lead Shoot Larry, you have this character, kind of a loser, kind of gets, how do I say it, like, beat up, not physically, but just verbally and such like that, by women, because he's got no game, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to speak with women, date with women. Less Manly is not that. He's definitely more of the he just really through the game kind of strikes you as a nerd, but not someone who is this complete loser around women, who is stuck in the 70s. He's just a dude, to me, that strikes you as your typical quote-unquote nerd who basically likes probably computers and stuff like that. Not really probably inclined great with women, but definitely not the loser retro guy that is Lead Shoot Larry. And so the one thing I will say about Less Manly, when I got it, the first time I got it took me forever to beat this game. Like a long time. I remember very, very clearly that it took me a long time, because one of the things this game does not do is kind of give you hints. So usually in not just Lead Shoot Larry, but usually in the Sierra games, you kind of get a feel for what you need to do. A lot of times in Less Manly, they just kind of put something in front of you. It just seems to be part of the background. They don't really tell you that you need to do anything for it. So for example, getting that key, I remember that taking me a long time when I first played it. A lot of this is infused into my brain from having played it a number of times, from when I first got it to when I'm doing it here for this channel. But there is still stuff that I forgot. So for example, I guess this is kind of giving you a clue. Like later on in the game, we'll walk to a scene, and every time you go onto the scene, you see a guy walk up to the mailbox, and then he walks away. And the thing is, this game pretty much lets you do anything. So you could go to that mailbox if you have, say, let's just say a cup of coffee. You can put coffee in mailbox, and it'll say okay, and when you check your inventory, that coffee's gone. So the game lets you do anything. I guess that's kind of positive. But it also leaves that very hard to tell, did I just do the right thing, or did I just dead end myself when I'm going to need this later? So a lot of the times I was just doing stuff and be like, oh, okay, well that's what I need to do. So for example, with the mailbox, I knew there was something I had to do there, I just couldn't remember what it was. And I'll talk about it when I get there, but I ended up just going, okay, well I can't figure it out. I've put stuff in the mailbox and I keep restoring because it just keeps letting me put everything in the mailbox. And I'll figure out what I need to do when I get there. And so I ignore the mailbox, do some other stuff, and eventually I find out what you need to do because it says, hey, you should have done this. It doesn't dead end you or anything, you just would dead end if you didn't restore. And so what you're going to do is you're going to look at this man's dream, and it's here that he takes a quick stab at Lucy Larry. See? Right there you see the Lucy Larry, and it's got the circle with the X through it. The game has some very unusual puzzles also. So for example, even though you can see someone when they're sleeping, right? But you can never actually visually see their dreams. In this game, you actually take his dreams. So you'll see that mailbox that we just passed. No one went to that mailbox yet. But when we do something here in this circus, if you will, we'll acquire something, and then someone will start appearing at that mailbox. In hindsight, now that I see that, I should have figured out what I did here is what triggers the mailbox thing. And this is another one where it's kind of vague. Like, what you have to do is you have to ask him about a job. But nowhere in the game does it allude to that they might even need someone for a job. Now, sure, if you walk south, you'll see these elephants have pooped, and there's a shovel, so you might have to do that. But it would have been a nice clue that, like, when you're walking along the fence, there's a poster, like that poster right there. It'd be great if you looked at the poster, and the poster said, hey, the circus is in town. If you're looking for a job, we could use your help. Inquire at, the van thing. But it doesn't. So if you don't know to actually ask for a job there, you'll get stuck really, really early. And I remember stuff like that really, really stumping me when I first played this game when it first came out. Because again, there's no indication that you should be even asking, hey, do you have a job? Usually with Sierra games, they'll do stuff like that. Sierra will usually kind of give you a little hint if you look and you go, oh, okay, so now I need to, I just saw this poster about they're looking for someone who might want to shovel poop, whatever. That's an indication that, okay, well, I need to go probably ask someone about it. And so that's how you can figure out what to do. I do like that if you do use, they scorn you for using the word use, like use shovel. They'll say something about, what is this, some kind of half-dome game? Once again, indicating Sierra. And for this, I don't know what the benefit of basically taking one pile of poop and moving it to what looks to be another pile of poop. Like, why isn't he putting it like in the crate or something? All he's doing is moving the poop from one elephant to another. And the thing is, he'll keep doing this until you tell him to stop. When you get the shovel, he starts this animation automatically. So you just assume that he'll finish whenever he finishes, but that's not the case. I think you have to probably shovel for maybe like 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and then he'll tell you the job's done. I think if you do it before then, so like if you just start shoveling and then you tell it to stop, I think he'll say that it's not done yet. So by finishing, we got a ticket to an attraction. Now, I will say the version that I'm currently playing for this is actually a version from GOG, because what I typically do is if games that I enjoyed in my childhood and whatnot, if they come out on GOG or Steam, I'll purchase them there, sometimes on both, just to show support for the game. So the copy protection, which is in the first less Manley, all these items are scattered throughout the book, and they have like a price tag. You have to type it with the GOG version. When it pops up that copy protection, all you have to do is click the middle and then it says okay. It's interesting that they didn't, I don't know if it's even possible that they didn't just strip out the copy protection. And so you can keep asking her about a fortune until she kind of tells you she's told you everything that she can tell. So there is something we're going to want, but we're going to have to distract her first. It's interesting when you say touch lizard, he said, please don't touch my pet. Pretty sure that lizard is dead. Be careful, he used to bite, B-Y-T-E, making a computer joke. Apparently if you say kiss women, she'll leave. So when you touch it, the card comes out, and you get the card. And so we have a strong man who isn't feeling very strong. He kind of doesn't want to talk, which again, it's probably my one complaint about this game, is I wish they would kind of give clues like, oh, you know, I don't really want to talk. Kind of like lost hope in my dreams and whatnot. So they kind of have an idea of things to do, right? See, so we tried giving the dream to him and it doesn't make a difference. So we know the dream doesn't go to him. And so while we distract him with lifting weights, we get the, I believe it's pronounced Rosen. Again, giving him the wax from the fortune teller. Doesn't really make sense why he needed it, but it's one of the weird things about this game. Again, it would have been much nicer if the game kind of gave you a little bit hint, a nudge, as to what is needed. And so if you look at the smallest man, his name is Helmet. The second game for Less Manly, which I will play sometime after this commentary, it pretty much features Helmet. Like, it starts off with him up in LA, and it takes more of a adult type content. It opens up. It's got more of that digitized live action kind of feel to it, where it's still very much a computer game, but it's clearly a rotoscoped actress. So I remember enjoying the first one, this one immensely. I don't remember enjoying the second one as much. As quirky as this first one is, I actually still enjoyed it. I feel like if I would have ever made a Sierra game, it would have probably turned out something like this. Yeah, why? It's another weird puzzle as to why a lioness would want popcorn. You would think you'd have to find meat somewhere, especially since it was showing over her head the meat icon, indicating yes, she's hungry, but preferably for meat, not popcorn. So we give the Rosen to him, and he climbs up, and unfortunately plummets to his death. And it's odd we just go over there to give that guy the Rosen just so he falls through the floor. We get nothing really from it. So essentially all we do is kill the guy. And it's weird. I thought something was freaking out on my computer. The blue in this area is like faded. And I'm sure that's intentional, but the color is different in this area. See, every time we go to the screen, someone shows up for that mailbox. And to be fair, it's after we've gotten Helmet. So I should have known that probably Helmet is probably what we need to send. I figured out later because I don't send him and something happens. See, every time you come to the screen, that guy shows up at the mailbox to kind of give you a hint. There's something to do here now. This was also a odd screen because there's technically nothing to do here. Like, the only thing you can really do is look at the woman and the child, and it kind of alludes that is that you from the past in the future kind of thing. So if there was something to do here, I never figured out what, other than to look at the woman and look at the baby. See, that's the only thing. There's the guy with the mailbox. see, and you can tell right here, I'm like, something's up with the mailbox. I just have not figured out what. I mean, I think they did a really good job with this game. Like, I like the fact that in the water, you can see his reflection, you can see the reflection of the fire hydrant. And so this woman is a clear fan, and so you can see the blue starker. Anyway, she's clearly a fan of the king, Elvis, and she'll let you know about it. And so she mentions a scarf, and it's that scarf that's in the case. She claims it has healing powers. So again, this one was kind of weird, about you have to get soda. And it's funny, because if you try to do get soda, which is what you'd think to do, because it's on the table, she comments that she doesn't want to break up the set. So there were a lot of quirky things about this game for sure. So we know that the scarf was given to her during the king's last performance. And when you look at this scarf, it says the sweat stains are still visible. And when you ask for it, she'll put it on the table. So now we can spill the soda on the scarf, sends her into a panic, and now she has to wash it. She has to be careful it doesn't remove its magical healing powers, and highly suggested to leave. So now we can walk out. If you knock on the door, she's not going to answer it again. Also, it's pretty cool that the fire hydrant is dripping. I actually just took notice to that. I don't know if it was dripping before we came in the house. And then if we go over here, we can see that she's now hanging a scarf over. But we can't get the scarf from here, so we're going to have to climb the fence. We now have the scarf. And again, the guy with the mailbox. See? Every time. So once you have helmet, that guy will show up to the mailbox every single time. So I guess that is the hint in hindsight. Now that I've just recently played the game again and I'm commenting on it and it's fresh in my mind, I guess that is the hint. But now we seem stuck because now we have the scarf. It feels like we've kind of done everything. The bus isn't going anywhere, which is what I thought would happen. Like once we had what we need, the bus would be ready to go. This guy's been hammering away at the strength thing, and if you step on it, lo and behold, that's how you leave the area, which seems really, really odd. It says, I'm sure that was faster than bus, but helmet burned out during the entry. And notice there's a mailbox here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to restore, go back to the mailbox, which thankfully, I mean, the game here is pretty small. Overall, actually, screen-wise, the game is pretty small. There's not too many areas to go. We're going to make it back over to the mailbox. Now we know who to put in the mailbox. See, the guy showed up again. And we put mail helmet, says he has been mailed. Go back over to the guy with the strength thing. And take off again to what I assume to be Las Vegas. And see, this time it just says it was faster than the bus. So if we check mail or get mail, look in mailbox, open mailbox, look in mailbox, and get helmet, and then now we have helmet. Now it seems like such a weird thing that you would mail a tiny person without an address of knowing where you're even going, and that he would arrive here. So again, the game has a bunch of weird puzzles. So if you try to talk to the man behind the counter, he doesn't really want to talk. And here we have an attractive woman by the name of Susie. Got some weird comments like that in the game. She does say that there is a suit here that's been waiting here for a long time. Long before she ever got here. And I feel like if this was a shooter game, she could say it was been here before she came, and then in parentheses, and it's been a long time since I've come. That feels like it would have been a Leash Suit Larry remark. That elevator flies, by the way. It's extremely fast. Now, here is where it's also very tricky. Because of the curtain position, you can't tell that there's an open door right there. But you'll be able to see, like, you can go in there, and obviously there's a door there. But because visually you can't really see it, it makes it there's something you have to do here that you wouldn't think to do because the door's not visible. So in order to get something that is on that cart, we need to distract her. In order to distract her, though, it's very difficult if you can't tell that there's a frickin' door behind that curtain thing, which again makes sense. It's a room, door has to be open because you walked in and out of it. I think they purposely hid behind that curtain to make this game a little more difficult than it had to be, similar to how they don't often give clues as to what to try and do. So now we know there's a guy named Mr. Fabulous who kind of sticks out, and we can't reach any of the other people. There's an invisible barrier that prevents us from getting to them. Again, if you use the word use, it'll crack on you. So again, trying to figure out just how to use the phone. And if you talk to him, he doesn't want to talk, so it's very difficult to try to piece together how you're supposed to make a call. So you actually have to say, "Call Fabulous." Once you do that, he obviously leaves, and we walked by him. He was at that phone, the previous screen. And it's so wild. She says, "You make me so hot." Like, Les did not strike me as a dude that can make this attractive woman in a bikini who's dating a very rich, more masculine version of Les could ever be, make her hot. So it's so weird sometimes, this game. And what I did, if you see that pause in the save game, what I do, it's the same thing I do with my Sierra games. When the directories get full, if I've done something new, see there's Mr. Fabulous on the phone. What I do is I Alt-Tab, move the save games into their own folder, and then go back in and save, so I can just save without overwriting. A lot of times what I'll do when I remember, I'll zip the save games and I'll put them on the Sierra Help forums. So if you go to sierrahelp.com, head to their forums. When I remember, I put the save games in there. And if I didn't and you're interested, you can definitely go to that forum, register, and say, "Hey, I watched your video, I was looking for those save games." Some people want the save games because they don't want to do the whole thing, or if they got stuck somewhere and they just need to get past that one spot. That's why I put save games there. Like Codename Iceman. Some people just do not want to deal with being on the sub, or they get up to the sub and they just want to pass that part. They could just use one of my save games to get past it. So we got some floss and stuff in the bathroom. So currently I'm frantically looking around because, again, I forgot about the part with the door. So at this point during the gameplay, I'm literally wandering around aimlessly trying to figure out what to do. Also, because of that mountain in the background, actually it looks more like Palm Springs than it does Vegas. I like that you give her the scarf and then she knows the girl cleaned it. Literally just grasping at straws by reading the schedule and stuff like that. Just trying to see what I'm missing. Okay, so see, once again, it's hidden behind that curtain. We now have a sign. So as she makes the bed, you have to get the skeleton key that's on the cart. So you have to be fast about it. So you can see there it says skeleton key. So after noticing she doesn't go in, the sign is on Do Not Disturb. Now she'll go in and start cleaning. So you have to wait until exactly she starts cleaning. And then get out of there. And now we're on a brand new floor, which I was not expecting. I was expecting to go back down to the floor that we were on previously. So in this room we have a hot tub. And if you look at the tub, it says it's squeaky clean. If you look at the drain, it says it's probably there to let water out. But if you say look in drain, it says there might be something in there. Now you would think it would just say something is sticking out of the drain, but you can't get it without fear of breaking it. So you need the lower helmet down below. In which case you see this segment. But again, the game makes it difficult. So helmet has returned and he's brought with a receipt. You're going to want to get the floss after you're done. And it appears to be a cleaning receipt. And no matter what you do, you cannot actually go up those stairs. And finally, when you say, look, it says closed for remodeling. So why they even put stairs there, I don't know. It's not like you go up there later. They're just there just to not be able to use. You give her the receipt, then we'll get the suit. I too like that. It says kiss Susie and says, okay, you put your lips on the screen. And then me and my wit with leisurely getting suits. It's a little Sierra humor. So now we have a suit, but we don't really have a way to leave. It's pretty funny. Looking hole looks somewhat like you. Side note, don't go in the desert. And so Stella is the blonde girl from the beginning of the game. And I like that they're even poking fun at themselves, saying that the guy who, Steve, who's behind this game, wanted to use her more. But once you go in the desert, that's it. It's over. If there's a way out of the desert and you know, let me know in the comments, because all I did was walk one screen to the right, and then I can't get out. It just repeats the same screens over and over and over again. Whether it's the vulture, the phone, the vulture, the phone, that's all it does. Dial 911. So we know going out towards the desert is not the answer. And ironically, you who thinks to randomly hitchhike, but that's what you do. You randomly hitchhike and then you end up here at the King's Estate, which I believe, is that supposed to be Tennessee, but that would be further up if it was Tennessee. I actually cannot remember where Elvis's estate is supposed to be. And I honestly, when I started playing this for the channel about a month ago, I honestly did not remember this part. Alright, so now we're at Reds. And it's the celebrity lookalike contest. So we have a phone booth and we can do the Superman thing where we can change into Superman, but you can't. So you can put on the suit and try to look as close to the king as you can. However, he looks a lot more like Lucy Larry. And so you get on the stage and you just do sing. So even though we got last place, the kingdom opened up for us. Alright, so we're inside the mansion. We're going to take a look around. again, this area also has some really weird puzzles. There's something with the bear rug, as well as the dinner table. Even the guitar thing has a little bit of a weird thing, because it doesn't look like you can really go around that rope to the left, but you actually can. There is space enough. And as soon as I went over to get the guitar, it just reminded me the other thing that really stands out is that mic inside that case. It feels like, you know, being behind a rope, there'd be some kind of alarm or something. If you look at it, it just tells you that it's imitation. Don't worry, they don't want to offend anyone. So randomly, even though you do it from a distance, it says you can't do it from there. If you stand right next to the head, it'll let you do it. Then you move back. So this game has things like that where the alarm is actually hidden in the bear's mouth. Again, I do like the game, but some of these puzzles are atrocious. Again, so we got the guitar, do the floss thing for the string. There is that oddly looking mic, so we're going to go ahead and get the mic. So even though it says everything is wax and that if you try to get the fruit ball, it says you won't need it. If you actually look in it, it'll say there's a banana on top of all that fruit that isn't visible. So we can't go too far in this room. So obviously what we're going to do is look inside the cabinet. There's a mechanism that unleashes this cool little fireman pole. This part of the game was also very, 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 very So we now know that that secret room leads to the room right next to the living room, which seems really odd. Why have it be a secret room if you can get to it from a door in the living room? So it feels like there should be something with that stove, considering it's there. And if we look in the counter, there's bread. No indication that there's even a counter there. Now we've stacked on some weight from eating, and then we got stuck that we couldn't move. Literally cannot get off that spot at all. And this time we don't glitch. try this again. Open the door. That is one other thing I don't like. So when it does the copy protection, it forgets whatever command you just typed. So like we typed open door, then the copy protection came up, did the copy protection, and then we have to do open door again. So obviously now with the guitar, the gut, and the mic, we get way more appraisal and love, and look, it's him. Uh-oh. And then we get a stamping of people, which reminds me if you've played Toe Jam and Earl, which ironically, not Greg Johnson, but Mark Volosursky. Mark has a hand in this game. So I'm curious if that stampede is similar. And so we get it, we get the picture, and then they say, but we don't have the cash. Les did figure out a way for the station to pay him in the contest, and now after taking over as the owner, president, and CEO, he now runs it. The stunning Stella Hart still works for the station, but now she's Les's personal assistant in charge. Colonel Bob sold, it was sucked into the spirit world. Helmet Bean, after several encounters with adventures of Southern Belles, did prove his dreams do come true. Mr. Fabulous never did get that call from his agent, and basically faded into obscurity. Vito, who is his thing, gave up his life of crime, and now spends his time playing Nintendo. Bobby, who had Thing, finally realized her obsession, and now we see Les at the end with Stella, and it says to be continued. So you know they already had a plan for Less Manly 2. And our score is 460. And if you enjoyed this, please click like and subscribe and share. All right, much love.